So, you're in the market for a new phone. It's a decision we all face every couple of years, and somehow, it never gets any easier. The question is always the same. What's the best phone for you? You see all the ads, you watch the reviews, and you scroll through spec sheets until your eyes honestly just glaze over. Everyone claims to have the best camera, the fastest chip, the longest battery life. But at the end of the day, you just want something that works, something that feels good to use, and something that you won't regret buying 6 months down the line. It's a tough choice, and the pressure to pick the perfect device is real. Enter the Google Pixel 10. For years, the Pixel line has been Google's answer to that very question. It's never been about having the most megapixels or the highest benchmark scores on paper. Instead, the Pixel has always been about the experience. It's about clean software, smart features that actually make your life easier, and a camera that you can trust to get a great shot without even thinking about it. With the Pixel 10, Google is doubling down on that philosophy, promising a smarter, more helpful, and more polished device than ever before. But have they finally nailed it? That's what we're here to find out. The big story this year revolves around the new Tensor G5 chip, which Google claims brings significant leaps in AI processing and everyday efficiency. They've also tweaked the design, refined the camera system with some impressive new software tricks, and promised all-day battery life and then some. On paper, it sounds like a solid, thoughtful upgrade. It doesn't scream for attention with wild new hardware, but it suggests a focus on refining what the Pixel already does best. This is the classic Pixel approach, subtle, smart, and focused on the user experience over flashy gimmicks. It's an interesting strategy in a market saturated with competitors trying to outdo each other with raw power. But we all know that specs on a page don't tell the whole story. The real test is how this phone performs in the real world, in your pocket, in your hands, day in and day out. Does the battery actually last? Is the performance smooth when you're juggling a dozen apps? And most importantly, does that legendary Pixel camera still hold the crown? We're going to dive deep into all of it. The design, the performance, the battery, and of course the cameras. We'll compare it to its biggest rivals like the iPhone 17 and Samsung's latest Galaxy to see where it really stands in the 2025 smartphone landscape. Picking up the Pixel 10, the first thing you'll notice is that it feels unmistakably like a Pixel. Google has settled into a design language that is both iconic and comfortable, and they haven't strayed far from it. The signature camera bar is back, but it's been subtly refined. It seems more integrated into the frame this year, with a smoother, more seamless transition from the glass back to the metal rail. It's a small change, but it makes the phone feel more like a single, cohesive unit. The matte finish on the back glass is excellent at resisting fingerprints, which is something I will always appreciate. It feels premium, solid, and comfortable to hold, without being slippery. The display is another area of subtle but meaningful improvement. We're looking at a 6.3-inch Super Actua display, which is just Google's fancy marketing term for a very bright, very sharp OLED panel. It gets incredibly bright outdoors, making it easily readable even in direct sunlight on a day like today. The colors are vibrant without being overly saturated, sticking to that natural, true-to-life look that Pixels are known for. The bezels are also slightly thinner than last year's model, giving you a more immersive, edge-to-edge viewing experience. It's a flat display which many people, myself included, will be happy about, as it reduces accidental touches. When you put it next to something like the iPhone 17, you notice the different design philosophies. The iPhone has those sharp, flat sides, which gives it a very industrial and precise feel. The Pixel 10, with its more rounded corners and softer edges, feels more organic and ergonomic in the hand. Neither is necessarily better, it's purely a matter of preference. But if you're someone who values how a phone feels to hold over long periods, the subtle curves of the Pixel 10 might just win you over. It's a comfortable, practical design that doesn't prioritize form over function. And that's a good thing. Overall, the design and display package here is a solid A-. It's not a radical reinvention, and it probably won't turn heads the way a new foldable might. But that's not the point. This is a phone designed for everyday use, and every element feels intentional and well considered. From the satisfying click of the buttons to the smoothness of the 120 Hz refresh rate, it's a polished experience. It's a device that gets the fundamentals right, providing a beautiful and reliable canvas for Google's main event, the software and the camera. It's a mature, confident design that knows exactly what it wants to be. Alright, let's talk about what's under the hood. The Pixel 10 is powered by Google's new Tensor G5 chip, Now if you're just looking at raw benchmark scores, Tensor is probably not going to top the charts against Apple's A18 Bionic or Qualcomm's latest Snapdragon. But that has never been Google's game. Instead of chasing the highest possible numbers, Google designs Tensor to be an AI powerhouse. It's optimized for the things that make a pixel lightning-fast voice transcription, real-time translation, call screening, and all the computational photography tricks that we'll get to later. In day-to-day use, the Pixel 10 feels incredibly smooth and responsive. Apps open quickly, scrolling through social media is buttery smooth thanks to the 120Hz display, and multitasking feels effortless. I haven't experienced any stutters or lag, even when pushing it with demanding apps. For the vast majority of things you do on a phone, browsing, messaging, watching videos, light gaming, the Tensor G5 is more than powerful enough. It's only when you get into super high-end mobile gaming with maxed out graphics that you might notice the latest iPhone pulls ahead slightly. But for 99% of users, the performance here is excellent and perfectly tuned for the Android experience. Now let's talk about the battery, because this has been a sore spot for Pixels in the past. I am happy to report that the Pixel 10 represents a significant improvement. On a typical day of use for me, which involves a lot of email, social media, taking photos, and watching YouTube, I was consistently ending the day with about 30 to 40% battery left. This is a legitimate all-day phone. It's not quite the 2-day battery champion that some other phones might be, but you no longer have to worry about finding a charger by late afternoon. This is likely due to the improved efficiency of the Tensor G5 chip, and some smart software optimizations. This is where the AI focus of the Tensor chip really pays off. The phone learns your usage patterns over time. For example, it knows which apps you use least and reduces their power consumption in the background. It's a smarter approach to battery management than just stuffing in the biggest possible battery cell. So if you leave your house in the morning with a full charge, you can feel confident that it will last you through a full day of work or school, your commute home, and even into the evening. For the first time in a while, battery anxiety is not part of the Pixel experience. The camera. This is the main reason many people buy a Pixel, and the Pixel 10 does not disappoint. On the hardware front, it's not a massive leap. We have a familiar main sensor and an ultra-wide lens, but they are slightly larger sensors that can capture more light. However, as always with Pixel, the real magic isn't in the hardware, it's in the software and the computational photography powered by the Tensor G5 chip. The philosophy remains the same. Pull out your phone, tap the shutter button, and get a fantastic photo almost every single time with no effort required. It's the definition of a reliable point-and-shoot camera. The photos that come out of the Pixel 10 have that classic beautiful look. They are sharp, detailed, and have excellent dynamic range, meaning you can see details in both the bright sky and the dark shadows of a single shot. Colors are rendered naturally and accurately, avoiding the overly vibrant, almost cartoonish look that some other phones can produce. Portrait mode continues to be best in class, with incredibly accurate edge detection that cleanly separates the subject from the background. It consistently produces photos that look like they were taken on a much larger, more expensive camera, which is the highest praise you can give a smartphone camera. Where the Pixel 10 really flexes its new muscles is in its AI-powered features. Magic Eraser is back and better than ever, making it even easier to remove unwanted people or objects from your photos. But the new standout feature is Video Boost, which uses Google's cloud processing to dramatically improve the quality of your videos. You shoot a video, and a few moments later, Google sends you back an enhanced version with better color, stabilization, and clarity, especially in low light. It's a game changer for casual video, making your everyday clips look significantly more professional without any editing on your part. It feels like the next big step in computational imaging. So, is it still the king? When it comes to still photography, for just pulling it out of your pocket and snapping a picture, I would say yes. The consistency and reliability are unmatched. The iPhone 17 might offer more pro-level video controls, and the Samsung Galaxy might have a crazy 10 times optical zoom lens, but for the vast majority of photos that people actually take, the Pixel 10 delivers the most pleasing and hassle-free results. It's a camera that you can trust completely, whether you're capturing a beautiful sunset, a fast-moving pet, or a precious family moment, it just works. So, after spending a lot of time with the Pixel 10, we come back to the big question, should you buy it? The answer really depends on what you value in a smartphone. This phone is not trying to be the best at everything for everyone. It doesn't have the most powerful spec sheet for hardcore gaming, nor does it have the most complex set of features for power users who love to tinker with every single setting. Instead, the Pixel 10 is laser-focused on delivering a smart, simple, and clean user experience. It's for the person who wants their phone to be helpful and get out of the way. If you are someone who just wants a phone that works, this is one of the best options on the market. If you prioritize camera quality for still photos and want to capture great memories without fussing with manual controls, the Pixel 10 is an absolute top contender. If you love clean, stock Android with no bloatware, and appreciate smart AI features like call screen and real-time translation, then this phone was basically made for you. It's for the user who values intelligence and simplicity over raw, brute force power. It's a thoughtful device for a thoughtful user. However, there are reasons to skip it. If you are a serious mobile gamer who needs the absolute highest frame rates on the most demanding titles, the iPhone 17's A-series chip still holds an edge in raw graphical power. If you are a power user who loves the endless customization options and features like DeX that Samsung offers, or if you absolutely need a 10 times telephoto lens for zooming in on things far away, then a Galaxy flagship might be a better fit for your specific needs. The Pixel 10 is a fantastic all-rounder, but it doesn't try to win in those specific niche categories. My honest opinion, the Pixel 10 is the best Pixel that Google has ever made, and it's one of the best smartphones you can buy today, period. They have finally fixed the battery life, the performance is smooth and intelligent, and the camera is as reliable and brilliant as ever. It represents a mature, confident vision of what a smartphone should be in 2025, not just a slab of glass and metal, but a genuinely helpful companion. For the average person looking for a premium, reliable, and smart device, the Pixel 10 is an easy and confident recommendation. It's the smart choice.